And I'm like, you're gonna need 2 hours and change to get through each of this every day, 5 days a week. That's insane. What are we doing?
Welcome to the Ready for More podcast. Strength is for everybody. I'm Idi.
And I'm Mark.
All right, Mark, what are we going to talk about today?
So today we're gonna talk about inspiration versus identification as far as your fitness goals go. And what I mean by that is that many times people can take a look at an example that they find on social media or the internet and think it's very impressive. At times they can be inspired by it, and if they're at a high enough fitness level, it can make them want to work towards that goal. But if they're not close to that, it can create distance and push them away and actually discourage them.
In terms of my clients, well, not necessarily my clients, just normal people I see, especially if they're heavily online, they would always tell you, okay, well, they'll show you a picture on the phone, like, I want to look like this. Is like, really? I mean, you know what most likely that person has to go through. Usually there's a bit of starvation involved.
Some performance enhancing drugs, maybe.
Some PEDs, some starvation, some 5 hours in the gym. It takes a lot, and especially if that is their identity online. I mean, they came up looking a certain way, so they have to maintain that.
Right.
So you don't want that. You want to be at a place where that is sustainable. I mean, and that is real life. I mean, what you're seeing on Instagram, that is not real life, and that is not sustainable.
No, and look, I think that and this is like, I guess a little bit more like, internal journey type of stuff, but like there's a lot of freedom in meeting yourself where you're at versus always trying to meet a standard that you can't fall beneath, like what you're talking about. What these people have to do to sustain that level of aesthetic or fitness, whatever, it's taxing either mentally, emotionally, physically, and in my opinion, training shouldn't be that way. It gives me a lot of joy to work on something and get better at it. I don't feel like it's this thing that I need to do or else. And I think that I would suspect that when those are the conditions that you're working under, that's what you've got to deal with. God help me if I lose my six pack, because then what happens?
Yeah, exactly. Especially, again, most people shouldn't be worried about a six pack, after 40 years old. Real life doesn't allow for that. Usually, having a six pack means you can't come home and have just a normal meal with your family. You cannot go out for dinner. You cannot have some pizza with your kids. These guys on Instagram, I don't know, maybe they're having pizza, but probably they're throwing up after. I don't know, and usually there's PEDs involved. So you don't want to follow that kind of standard. You want to follow the norm, the standard where you do something sustainably.
Idi, I'm going to tell you that some of the angriest people, miserable, angriest people I've ever met are fitness competitors that are 2 weeks out from their shows because they're on all types of deprivation, water deprivation, whatever. These are angry, angry people. They look fantastic, but it takes a heavy chemical toll on your body, and it manifests in certain ways. Yeah. So there's what you see, and then there's what actually is.
And they knew what they signed up for, and they know, and people around them know. So they know, okay, well, 2 weeks within my show, like, I just cannot see anything to that person. They're locked in.
Yeah.
The belly, they get very irritable. And after that, they kind of let loose because, again, that is not sustainable.
So these are all things that you can admire from a distance. And I think that they're best served as that. They're admirable. These are very hard goals to work towards. But I think in order to make progress and to stick with training, you need to identify with your goals and what you see, And for some people, that's going to be seeing a level of fitness that they think that could be me. That is attainable for me in the short term or in the not too long term, as opposed to something that's just stratospherically way off.
Stratospherically is way off, yes, but usually you don't want to be in that realm because it's just not sustainable and it's very painful.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess the bottom line is that if you can't identify with what you're doing and what you're working towards, then no amount of motivational speeches or anything is going to keep you in the game. You're going to find your way out of it because this isn't me. This is not what really speaks to me or what I really feel like I can work on.
And most people, unless you're an athlete or you've been in that for a long time, most people don't like working out. They don't like the gym or anything like that. So we as trainers have to find something that's fun for our clients, something again that's sustainable, something they could come back to. So looking at these influencers on IG, which is fine, but don't try to be like them because you don't know what they've been through and what they have to go through to be what they are, what you see on your phone.
As a side note, I'll tell you this. I feel like I've seen people fall in love with the process, and these are the people that really are on autopilot when it comes to training, because it's not about I need to lose X amount of weight or I need to move X amount of weight. It's I actually love showing up and doing the thing because it's sustainable for me, because, again, we could talk about how intelligent training is, or when it's done right, but I actually enjoy the process and how it's done, and it's sustainable for me. It's real and realistic for me.
And I think they get to that point when they see, okay, now I could actually walk up a flight of stairs without getting tired. I could actually carry, 2 bags of groceries, 2 blocks, as opposed to always just stopping and putting it down. When they start seeing these incremental results, they start like, okay, I think I could get into that.
Yeah, I can get behind it. Or, just another thing, and to speak to more performance-oriented stuff, you hit a PR in your deadlift, or you overhead pressed weight that felt out of reach up until you actually did it, and you worked on it, intelligently. So yeah, Idi, I think that people really need, relevant reference points.
What are a couple of relevant reference points?
If somebody's talking about training, push, pull, hinge, squat, do a full body workout. You get it done in an hour versus doing some kind of 2-hour bodybuilding split. Actually, true story. There's somebody that I worked with just before we left our club, and she had previously worked with an influencer, and she showed me the email this influencer had sent her, and Edie, I kid you not, it was like a Mission Impossible bodybuilding split. And I'll throw in a little something about the gaslighting that happened, which is, hey, just remember, you sought me out, I didn't seek you out, so you need to listen to what I'm telling you to do. And I'm like,
I mean, did she tell?
What kind of arm-twisting power play
She
is
actually
that?
told your client that?
Yeah, I had the email. I read it because she forwarded it to me. But what I saw in this email was, like I said, Mission Impossible. Like, I look at all this stuff and I'm like, who is supposed to get this done in 1 day and 5 days a week? This is insane.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had an example last week of my clients, and there's this trainer that he had a couple of clients, and then you could just see a lot of the clients are doing the same thing, and it's just like from the day one he just went hard, and my client's like, man, he just really pushes him hard. It's like the reason you don't see his clients anymore is, I mean, it could be one or two things. It could be either they're traveling or they're training at another gym, which I don't think so. Or he just lost it. He didn't retain his clients. Why? Because you cannot be pushing clients that hard from the get-go. Even if you're medium, I mean, you've been in the game. I mean, it's just tough to push yourself that hard and try to maintain that kind of standard. So I have a feeling that he just pretty much scared off his clients, because there is no way. I mean, especially these clients look like they hadn't done anything ever. They hadn't worked out. And coming in and just pushing them so hard. So, yeah.
You need something that scales to you and that you can keep showing up for. When you push too hard, it's inevitable. I mean, we've seen this for however long now. But I think that when people are given these standards that are impossible to meet, I'm thinking about this email. Yeah, how does this not result in discouragement or burnout? I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I mean, this person must have done this because they gave it to me, but I'm just not good enough to do all this stuff.
So why did you ask your client why she actually sought to go to that trainer before?
So this person had a big following on social media. I mean, this is however many years ago now, I guess 6 or 5, just around pandemic time, but this person sought this trainer out because they got a big following, and I think that they wanted to work on aesthetics. They were getting married soon, so they wanted to get in the quote unquote best shape of their life.
Yeah,
and
which makes sense.
It does, but there's, I'm not gonna go into the weeds here, but there's realistic talks and unrealistic talks, which is, hey, if you want to build a booty in 4 weeks, do exactly what I tell you. And then there's, well, if you're trying to build muscle mass, it's going to take time and effort and, proper nutrition. And then there's also genetic potential. You may be limited in what you can actually build.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they came to you specifically for the wedding, I understand that. I mean, hopefully it wasn't like just 4 weeks, because it's really tough to, really gain anything in 4 weeks. 12, I could see 12 to 16 weeks, that was going to be more realistic.
To the point, Edie, like I looked at the program and it was completely unrelatable. Again, it was a massive bodybuilding split. And again, I remember looking at it and I'm like, you're going to need 2 hours and change to get through each of this every day, 5 days a week.
And
that's insane.
And some enhancements.
What are we doing? So I think people need more relatable examples. They need more realistic goals. As unpleasant as that can be sometimes to say, hey, it's gonna take time to do this. I have a plan for you. We can plot this forward, but this realistically is what you can accomplish in this time frame. Here's an aggressive approach. Here's a more conservative approach. They need relatable examples. They need that. And the other thing is that good coaching doesn't lock people into one model and have them keep doing that. It evolves with the person over time. So it's not, here's a cookie cutter program, have fun, just listen to what I tell you. It's, hey, you've made X amount of progress. Okay, we're gonna progress this and we're gonna move you away from this. The goals may change too. So there is a shift that happens over time versus just throwing generic whatever at people.
Yeah, for me, a lot of times the plan usually changes because of injury. One of my clients, like he aggravated his knee. So, and if I don't kind of save him from himself, he'll still want to do the same things we did last week and 2 weeks before. So now we have to kind of still do some sort of thing related to that, but in a kind of roundabout way so he doesn't feel it too much. But yeah, usually it's injury, sometimes travel, but mainly injury. We have to work around stuff. And that is, yeah.
That's the other end of it. Yeah, there's progression, there's changing of goals and moving on to other things. And then there's injuries and regressions that need to happen with proper coaching. Not because you did something to hurt them, but because something happened. I used to have a guy, and what did he tell me? He would come in to see me. He used to travel a lot, and he'd come in, and he's like, oh, Mark, this is wrong, that's wrong, whatever. We got to switch up the training. And at some point he came in, he's like, Mark, I swear to God, I'm not a secret shopper, just trying to see if you're a competent trainer. Because he was like, again, he would come in and something was always happening. So that was his joke with me. He's like, you must think I'm a secret shopper at this point at our club.
I remember you telling me that. He said, this is not working.
Oh, his issue specifically that he was running into, so he enjoyed doing a lot of kettlebell stuff, but the head of his femur was too big for the socket and it would grind in the socket. So he had to have, I forget what the name of the surgery was now, but there was a massive recovery because when he would hinge or when he would do certain types of squat patterns, the bone would grind in the socket, which would cause him, a lot of discomfort.
So, did he have the surgery before you or after you?
I think it was called an acetabular femoral impingement.
Yeah, whatever that is. So did he have the surgery?
He had the surgery.
No, before or after you?
After he training with me.
Okay, so he was feeling the pain, he went to the doc, he's like, okay, well, you have this, whatever that isn't.
Yeah, we got a recurring thing, we got to get it taken care of. Like, if something keeps happening, it's indicative of something else is going on here, and we got to kind of tackle this. So I guess the big takeaway today is that if strength is always modeled by the most extreme examples, a lot of people are going to end up assuming that it's not meant for them or that it's out of reach. But if strength is taught properly and actually gives people a viable strategy, then that's a path they can start and continue on indefinitely.
All right, guys, so if you want to know exactly where you are strength-wise, we are working on a strength audit coming out in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned.
All right, guys, so that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you real soon on the next one. Stay strong.
All right, so leave some comments, like, subscribe. Until we meet again, peace.